As far as these bombs that were used in Iran are concerned, reports are saying that there were massive ordnance penetrators that were used, 2 MOPs that were used in each strike. So as far as details are concerned, 5 to 6 bombs that were used in most of these sites is what we're learning as per reports that are coming in.
That's very well possible. Again, there are lots of questions that remain to be answered in terms of the facilities themselves. Where was what, how deep were they, and so on and so forth. And that's going to determine whether or not these sites have been effectively destroyed or whether they've only been partially destroyed and the United States would have to carry out more than one raid.
Right, Mr. Dorsey, as unpredictable as Trump is, was this expected that he would jump into the conflict this early on?
I don't think it was unexpected. I think Trump wanted to keep everybody guessing. The movement of the B-2 bombers could as much have been part of keeping people guessing and trying to pressure the Iranians as preparing, as we now know in hindsight, for bombing raids against Iran. But I think it was clear that Trump was considering this and was hoping that he didn't have to do it, that the Iranians would bow to his pressure. That was a hope that never was realistic.
Right, and Mr. Dorsey, you mentioned earlier that it is yet to be seen what the US's actions would be next. But Trump has indicated that they're not going to back down, that they do have other targets in mind if Iran doesn't come to the negotiation table.
Absolutely, and I think that's presumably what you're going to see. There is no way that the Iranians are going to surrender. If anything, you're going to see a hardening of the Iranian position, which means you're going to see expanded Israeli strikes and further U.S. strikes. The problem with that, all of that, is that the Iranians will respond at their time and leisure, and that could drag the United States further deeper into a regional conflagration.
And what role does the Middle East play? What about countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE? They haven't come in terms of supporting Iran as well, but we do know that they're not going to back the other side.
Well, they've made very clear that they've condemned the the Israeli attacks on Israel, been supportive of Iran in that sense, and have been very careful to try and position themselves in a way that they do not become targets. That has become much more difficult now with the U.S. strikes.
Right, and of course, more details are surfacing of the United States attack in Iran. We're learning that, as per reports, 13,000 kg bunker buster bombs were dropped. We have gotten a representative statement from Khamenei's as well. It is in fact a mouthpiece newspaper that says it's our turn to attack without delay, and as a first step we must launch a missile strike on the US naval fleet in Bahrain and simultaneously close the Strait of Hormuz to American, British, German and French ships. Now this is an interesting and significant point, Mr. Dorsey. The fact that the Hormuz Strait was something that everybody was fearing that Iran would block, which would then turn into, again, an act of war and stop trade completely.
Well, I mean, this is a newspaper saying it. It's not saying anything new. I mean, the timing of what it says is important, but essentially Iran has threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz earlier in this game. It has threatened to target U.S. military facilities in the Gulf before. So I think one has to take this not with a grain of salt, but with a degree of reservation and wait and see.
Right, but like you said, it is expected that Iran could perhaps not back down and attack. And like the newspaper statement says, they say that they want to launch a missile strike on the U.S. naval fleet. Of course, not being alarmist, but this is a possibility.
Sure, everything is possible. But I do think that the Iranians at this point have an interest in being seen as responding, as not bowing down, but not responding in a way that would be so provocative